Well, this week, President Trump issued a historic executive order that's going to make it significantly easier for the United States to impose sanctions on terrorist organizations. We're now able to more effectively and efficiently target leaders of terrorist organizations, as well as those who provide or participate in training to commit terrorist attacks. We've already used these tools aggressively. The Treasury Department and the State Department announced that we are imposing sanctions on 28 individuals and entities as a result of these new expanded authorities. We've used this new tool to aggressively target the full spectrum of terrorist threats, including individuals associated with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, and the IRGC.
Regarding the IRGC, it's affiliated, of course, to Iran, and we are hearing reports from America, from the U.S. regarding talks, maybe a meeting. How do you see this in wake of these sanctions?
The President has been clear, and the Secretary of State has been clear, that we expect Iran to behave like a normal nation, to not use terrorism as a tool of statecraft, and to comply with the rules of the international system that every other country is expected to comply with.
And at this point, this stage, Iran is part of terror, is really acting in terror?
Iran is the world's worst state sponsor of terrorism. It backs proxies around the world, including Hezbollah, which is a threat to Israel and the United States. Its IRGC engages in terrorist plotting around the world. And we've been very clear that we will continue to impose maximum pressure on this regime until it changes its behavior.
But is there a shift in terms of how you relate to Iran?
Our policy and our approach to Iran is determined by the President of the United States, and the President has been very clear about his expectations of Iranian bad behavior.
You're here in Israel as this week we are marking 9/11. How do you look at the war against terror as it's changed throughout the years?
Well, our terrorist adversaries have adapted and evolved over the years since 9/11, and that means we need to evolve and adapt as well. That's why the President issued an executive order this week, enhancing our ability to go after terrorist financiers and enablers and impose sanctions on them. We need the rest of the world to join with us in continuing to take the fight to Al-Qaeda. We've decimated its leadership in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we need to bring the same purpose and commitment to decimating its networks in places like East Africa, the Middle East, West Africa, and elsewhere.
But does the threat really exist? Is the threat really out there against Americans, even on American soil?
Al-Qaeda remains committed to its fight. It sees the United States as its enemy. It's patiently plotting to bring the fight to the United States from its networks and affiliates. And the United States is using every tool at our disposal, not just military force, but also law enforcement, border security, financial sanctions and designations, and countering the ideology of this group to take it off the battlefield.